Welcome back, guys, to another episode with me, Just Friends with Abdullah. Thank you for your time, as usual. I appreciate your company on this beautiful day. Not sure when this is gonna come out, but just letting you know that it's a very beautiful day in sunny Dubai. So thank you all for joining me today. I got a quite an interesting topic to talk about, and it's really something that I've seen a lot in today's world, and generally, among people that I know in work, people in their relationships, friendships, all kinds of things. I've seen this phenomenon happen a lot, and that is the lack of confrontation. And what I mean by confrontation is not by being aggressive, is not by being most certainly violent, but what I mean is when you're not happy about something and you want to voice your opinion and you try to engage in a dialogue with the other party, in a civil manner. Nobody seems to be doing that actually quite often, and nobody seems to be doing it at all, in fact. And for some reason, I think people are just fearful and scared to confront. So I wanted to explore that topic a lot more today, and why I think people should embrace confronting, and why should they, you know, really be encouraged to confront, and have dialogues and conversations whenever they are unhappy, whenever they are upset, whenever they are riddled with some sort of agony. And the confrontation, in a way, is a remedy to all of this. And it shouldn't be withheld, and it shouldn't be feared or frowned upon by others if somebody is confronting. So I wanted to dive into that, and I wanted to kind of talk about it a little. One thing I hate about today's world is our fear of confrontation. It's like we've been given sedatives. Society's been given sedatives, and painkillers, so we don't really voice and talk about our opinions and how we feel. And I think for some reason it's because voicing your opinion or even confronting is frowned upon, because people think that you're automatically gonna hurt other people's feelings. You're gonna trample upon them, and it's far from that. It's completely far from that. I never understood this idea of why people look at confrontation in a negative way. Nowadays, nobody really confronts, and I don't get it. But if we think about it deeper, why is that? For some reason, confrontation has been given a bad rep. It's like whenever anyone wants to confront or has the idea of confronting, they have to be walking on thin ice, because they're not sure what is the right approach to confront, to have a conversation. They're fearful that it might backfire. There might be consequences that they're not able to predict or to control, in a sense, which is really actually quite sad, because you're putting yourself in this corner of not voicing your opinion, but at the same time you're letting a situation continue to harm you, whatever situation that you wanted to confront about. And I think that's just very, very unhealthy, and it's very bad. I get it. The general consensus is, if you confront somebody, and confrontation is a serious conversation, in many regards, more likely than not, you're about to ruin the good vibes that you had with that person. Whether it's a friend, whether it's a colleague, whether it's a partner, things might never be the same again, because you don't know what's the outcome. You're fucking scared. You truly are. And you're terrified about the idea of ruining something. It's like all these people that try to friend zone friends. And the excuse that they always give you is that we have a good friendship and we don't want to ruin it. And we don't want to take that chance. It's similar to confrontation. You're always hesitant to confront, because you feel like, damn, I'm gonna ruin what I have going. I have a good thing going with this person. We vibe, we like each other, we're good. If I confront him about this small tiny issue that happened, I might lose him forever. I don't know if he's sensitive or not. And that goes through your mind. That kind of conversation goes through your mind whenever you're about to take that step. Well, yes, I think you should be actually scared. Reason being is because people get defensive when they're confronted, and in some cases become aggressive. What do you expect when somebody is retaliating and the other person doesn't expect it? They basically try to lash out, and when they lash out, lashing out can come out in different forms. One of them is obviously not wanting to be with you anymore, ruining what you already had, and they're becoming violent. That's because simply they've been cornered, they've been put in a position they're not familiar with, they've never seen before. That's what confrontation does. Confrontation puts the other person in a position of weakness. This is why you probably think that confronting is a bad, bad idea, and there is nothing to gain, right? You know what? I fucking disagree with all that shit. I disagree with everything that I just said in the previous minute. You see, I have a totally different outlook than you. The way I look at it is confrontation is just a painting in the art of communication. It is a way how we speak to the other person and how we speak to others. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. I'm sure you heard that a lot. And confrontation comes under that labeling too. The reason we personally, as in we the people that want to confront and have a real conversation, the reason we shy away from having those conversations is because it turns into an uncomfortable feeling. It turns into a situation that, like I said earlier, we don't have an outcome or control over. But what we forget is that if we don't confront and if we don't speak our mind and say what we want to say, the resentful feeling that is developing within us is going to grow even more. And then when it grows even more, it's going to go to a place that we can never control. And that's when a true outcome can be very, very negative. Because if you're somebody who can't confront, you might lash out on yourself or even loved ones that you care for, just because you need an outlet. And if you're somebody who's going to confront, you're going to confront in a very bottled up, aggressive way, years and years of not confronting, leading up to one situation. And that can take a very bad turn because the other person, the other party may not deserve that lashing because you just lashed out one time when the issue was not just one time, it's several issues across the years. I remember one time in the past, and I can, because I think this is like a personal podcast and conversation that I have with you guys, and I share with you these experiences because I'm someone like you. I'm not anyone unique in that sense. I've been through this as well. So I've had people who I've had issues with in the past, and for some reason or the other, I never confronted. But then what happened was it developed into a situation where one time someone said just a very minor funny joke, and I punched him in the face just because, for me not confronting, that resentment grew inside me and developed into something that was even more than the actual issue to begin with. And you see that happens to a lot of people, where everything gets bottled up, and one time they blow up and they just can't control how they feel about a certain situation, and that situation develops into something very, very bad. And at the same time, your reaction becomes way too excessive within the frame of that specific scenario. So it has happened to me, and I'm sure it has happened to a lot of people, and it's quite normal. So why should you confront? I think there are a couple of reasons that you need to be aware of, and the benefits of confronting. One, people are going to know your principles and values and what you stand for. Two, it's very good for your mental health. That pressure on your mind all the time weighing on you is going to be much more relaxed and in a much better state. Three, whether the other person, whether the other person enjoys or dislikes or doesn't like what you said, they're gonna acknowledge you. They're gonna respect you, no matter what. They're gonna give you that thumbs up because you speak your mind, because you say what's on it, and you're not somebody who shies away. So, and again, you're being real, which is I spoke about being authentic and real in another video. You can check it out up here, but I think when you are somebody who embraces who you are in a sense, that helps a lot in reflecting the true personality that you are. And by reflecting is obviously you speak your mind when something bothers you. And I speak my mind when now when something bothers me or annoys me. I speak my mind. I don't hesitate whatsoever. Zero. There's nothing in me that tells me I don't say what I think. Whether people are gonna like it or not, I say it. But of course, how I say it matters a lot. There's also a very important angle that you probably haven't considered, which is it allows relationships that you have cultivated with people to go to new levels. You see, when you confront, like I said earlier, there's a newfound respect to you. There's a newfound even admiration. You know, people can admire the fact that you speak your mind and you're not shying away from that. And also, I think it gives the other person a chance to be aware about the things that they're doing wrong towards you. So when they learn and they listen from you and they understand that this doesn't work with me, or this doesn't sit right with me, it gives them that opportunity and it gives them that chance to better their relationship with you and take it to new levels and new heights. And that's critical, because if you never confront, you may never know how that relationship or whatever you have with the other person can even grow further. And confronting could be the first step into cultivating a more blossoming and beautiful friendship, relationship, acquaintance, whatever it is, or work relationship with whoever. And that's something you need to keep in your mind as well. You can't gauge how someone is going to react to your confrontation. And ultimately, there could be some friction that happens between both of you. But if you think about it, do you want those kind of people in your life? I mean, really, do you want people that are always going to be not willing to hear you out, afraid, or not afraid, but I think not willing to listen and sit down and have a discussion with you about what went wrong? Do you really want those kind of people? I personally do not want people around me like that, and I don't think I will ever have people like that around me, because they don't have my best interest in their heart, and I think at the same time they don't really value what we have. Because I think if someone loves you and respects you and cares for you, they're gonna hear you out about something that went wrong, and this applies anywhere, colleague, friends, all that stuff. But I did say that the approach is very important, which I'm going to talk about later. But understand this: there is always going to be a possibility of a friction. There's always going to be a possibility of things going sour. And you have to accept that. If you want to achieve what you want out of this line of communication, you have to accept. And let me add one more thing. People who lack the intelligence and the emotional intelligence and understanding of why they've been confronted, or why there has been a serious conversation, do you really want those people around you? I mean, do you want those kind of people to be with you, long term? Trust me, they're gonna harm you more than do you good, and that's the reality. So confronting, if it turns out in a bad way, sure, it turned out in a bad way, but at least you got rid of people who are probably going to hold you back at some point in your life. But in case you're going to confront regardless, and obviously there will be people that you love and care for that have those character traits that are going to be defensive and cornered and cause trouble, how should you do it? You see, for me, I always come back to a few things before I confront, and how I speak to people about it. The number one thing is that you got to be calm. When you're talking to someone about an issue like this, you have to be calm, you have to be composed, and you have to be relaxed. The second thing you need to be aware of is focusing on the points. The points of the disagreement, or the points of contention. You need to focus on the points of contention to really hit the points faster, so the person understands where the issues lie, without you being over dramatic or prolonging a conversation. And of course, I think you have to find a way to reach common ground. I think if you find an approach or a way to reach common ground faster, it's going to help a lot in really understanding how to solve this issue and close it faster. I think no matter what anyone tells you, confrontation is always going to be an uncomfortable right, somewhat uncomfortable, because you're always not sure. You don't know where it's going to lead to. You don't have control over the outcome, right? Because other people's feelings and emotions are involved now in the situation. But you try your best to deal with it in a way where you understand the person. And I think the context of knowing the personality that you're dealing with is very important, because it will make you feel like, okay, he or she reacts in this way, so I need to be a little bit more, low temperature. I can't be too violent. I personally don't like people who confront and they just confront without really thinking about how the other person reacts. I don't like those kind of people. Reason being is because in a way you're being inconsiderate. You have to understand that confrontation is hard on everybody, and it's always something that unpleasant, because it makes people uncomfortable. That's the reality of it. And especially women, I don't like to specify on a gender, but women do not like to confront, because women love good vibes and love good energy and love good feelings. And confronting it makes them feel very unpleasant, and that's something you have to be aware of. You have to add the context of the personality you're dealing with, and the conversations, and how you relay the message in a smart, intelligent, mature, calm way. And hey, listen, this doesn't go like one way by you confronting. Also, when you're confronted, you need to have the understanding and have the emotional tolerance to be empathetic towards why that person is confronting you. What is so big of a deal, or what is such a important issue for them to confront me and have a conversation with me about it in this manner? It's very serious if someone is going to confront you about something. So you need to also be mature, very emotionally checked in, and empathy. And I talk about this all the time. If we had more empathy in the world, a lot of things would have been better. We have to embrace empathy and empathize with the fact that your friend and whoever confronted with you did that step. Keep that in mind. It's very important, man. Why did I talk about this today? And this is my final message about this topic. We're trying so hard to keep the status quo running every single day, We're so worried about other people's feelings, sensitivities, not causing problems. We're just afraid. We're afraid of changing things. We're afraid of how people are going to act with us tomorrow. We're afraid of someone's behavior towards us. But, I mean, listen, if that's how you roll, that's how you roll. But to me, the red line where I draw is if it's going to affect my physical or mental health. And so should you. If it's going to affect your physical and mental health, then what's good of a status quo? What is the point of a status quo? It actually hurts more than does good. And that's something that I think for me cannot be tolerated. Confrontation is important and healthy because, like I said, it helps you grow. It helps you understand your boundaries and limits, and it helps you cultivate and grow the relationship with the right people around you. Hope you guys liked the video. Like and subscribe as always. Talk to you soon.